Mazel morons, welcome back to the Good Guys podcast. I'm sitting here with someone who boards with military. It's Ben Soffer.
Yes, that is me. And we're also here with...
I was like, wait, is that me?
No, that's not you. And we are also here with, first and foremost, dear friend, miss you terribly, so happy that you're here, Brian Kelly, the points guy, creator of the points guy. Really, everything that you think that you know about points, you only know about points because of Brian. So, Brian, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here in person.
I don't know why we didn't do this earlier.
I know. We would always chat about it, but with people like us, you're like, just come this day. Just tell me when. Yeah.
It took us 2 years, Josh, to have Brian on the podcast. What are we, nuts?
It's a real mess up on our part, and I'm taking responsibility now.
Well, Josh, because Josh was one of the first guests on my podcast years ago when I launched that. That was fun. So I no offense, but I will make you feel a little bit bad, Josh.
Yeah, and now that I know that like you had him on the podcast and you never had me, what the fuck is that?
Didn't I?
But no. I had Brian.
No, you didn't.
I had Brian on my first podcast years ago that will go unnamed. I have to say I have been a points boy, a points lad for many a day. Big fan of Brian Kelly, big fan of his entire enterprise. And boy, is it an enterprise. Money, guys.
Yeah, that was I put up like an Instagram story just asking people to ask questions, and everybody was just like, how much cash does Brian have on him right now?
I think I have like 200. I always love cash, even though I'm the points guy, but like I love tipping people. It like hurts my soul. And it just makes life easier. Like in my garage, I tip them $20 every time I get the car. Yeah. You better believe I've never once been to that garage. Like, most of the time they'll be like, or if you don't show up in time. And a little bit of grease goes a long way.
No, Josh and I always talk about this. You need to have a guy for everything.
And none of my friends ever have cash. I'll like get someone's flight and everything, and I'll be like, oh, I don't have cash. Did you have a 20 for the driver? Oh, sorry. Like 10 people in the car, no cash. Like people don't have cash these days. And
no,
I think
you need cash, especially if you're traveling.
Absolutely.
Like how dangerous are you walking around with your credit card that literally is meaningless?
And this shocks me. Most people, especially the young kids, don't realize you should tip housekeeping, especially in the United States. These people are cleaning your filthy stuff. They're getting paid barely a living wage if they're lucky. I'm telling you, give $20 the first day of your stay to housekeeping, put a little note in it, leave it on the bed or on the, just put housekeeping. They will hook you up. You'll get more Nespresso pods. You'll get more free water. You'll get 80 towels, whatever you want. It'll be, even if it's not $20, $10 will make their day. And do it early in the stay so you get hooked up the whole time.
Josh, how much are you tipping at the Fairfield Marriott?
I'm laying down big money. So Ben, first, ouch, low blow, and it's called the Fairfield Inn and Suites.
Sorry,
and Suites.
My bad.
Just like the Spring Hill Suites.
I love a Spring Hill suite.
So he loves them. I'm not kidding.
Especially with kids, I grew up on it.
Oh, please. The free continental breakfast. Brian, you're preaching to the choir here. But I give $20 per day that I'm there because I'm usually only there if I'm there like 2 nights, I'll give $20.
Yeah.
When I leave. I don't usually give it beforehand just because what are they going to give me at the Spring Hill Suite? So there's no Nespresso pod.
But they will take extra good care of you. I think you should start leaving some in the beginning because my dad taught me to always leave it at the end. But then also, if you leave it at the end, the person that was helping you your whole stay may not get it.
Totally.
So I believe, and I think for everyone, okay, $20 a day is a lot for most people, but like $5 a day, I think is sort of standard for housekeeping, especially in the U.S. In Europe, the people will say, well, they get paid a higher wage, but I still feel, tip the door, the guys who help you with your bags. I used to be so cheap and avoid them. No, I'm good. I have my bags. But especially now with traveling with kids, it's so nice. I arrive at the hotel. I'm like, just here, I'll give you money to bring it. These guys are not making and girls are not making a lot of money. So if you have the cash, a little bit to the people who make your travels better, just do it.
The worst
you'll get karma points for it.
The worst is when your bellman brings your bags upstairs, undoing them. You look in your pocket, you have no cash.
I know.
And you say, yeah, I'll hit you later. I promise. I'll find you downstairs.
Yeah.
Never to be found again.
Yeah. That's why you just got, and when that happens, the next time you have a bell person helping you, just give them double. It does all even out in the end. I think I've had really smooth travels, not just because I fly first class and I'm the points guy and they treat me well, but I do believe it's a large part due to the karma points that I build up by tipping people.
So Josh and I love to complain about travel. Honestly, it's all that we do. Every single time we set foot on a plane, we're complaining about a various experience. And you told me that you just came out with, the points guy just came out with
Best airlines.
Best
yeah.
airline.
So for 8 years now, we like rate all the US airlines. So there's probably like, we rank the top 10 and we look at, because everyone has their favorite, right? And it's largely like if you're in Miami, you're flying American, for the most part, or Atlanta, you're Delta. But we wanted to look at 4 main categories. So reliability being the biggest, like what airline's actually going to get you there on time. And reliability is also like missing bags. So that, bumping passengers, all the things that airlines do that are really naughty, we would ding them. And then we looked at like the customer experience, like airlines that are actually nice. Like Delta has family seating policy where they actually will not charge you to sit with your kids, which shockingly, many airlines
What do you mean charge you to sit with your kids?
Yeah, so airlines are making money on fees these days. So you book on a low-cost carrier, even if you're traveling with 2 like 4-year-olds, they'll make you pay to sit with your child on many airlines.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty ballsy.
Sick.
So anyway, yeah, it's like reliability, affordability, and then also loyalty because we're the points guys. So we like blend this whole, we crunch a bunch of data, and so for this 6 year in a row, Delta came in at number 1. And interestingly, they weren't number 1 in any one of the 4 subcategories, but they're just really good across the board. Like, and so Delta is 1, Alaska 2, United 3. American Airlines 4, and then Southwest was number 5.
See, Claudia, Alaska is a reliable airline. I fly Alaska home from California.
Alaska's great. Their frequent flyer program's amazing.
Wow.
They have actually going to London, and it's 45,000 miles one way, business class.
Wow.
On Alaska?
Do they have lay flats on Alaska though?
Well, so
no,
they don't, right?
The joy of Alaska is you don't use Alaska miles to fly Alaska, which is like the core tip I have for most frequent flyer programs. Like even when you redeem on partners, you're generally going to get like a better experience. Alaska has 1 million partners, British Airways, or anyway. But Alaska, yeah. So whenever you go New York to LA, you'll say, okay, let me splurge for business class. Everything's $3,000, and then Alaska's like $640. You're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
But you realize you're getting a recliner seat on a 6-hour flight. I personally can't sleep, sitting up. But it's a good airline overall, Alaska.
Wow. Do you think that as far as these airlines go, like Delta, I feel like it knows that they're number 1.
Yep.
They know. Listen, you walk into a Delta plane, Points Guy sticker on the side, NBD. You know what I mean? But they're
and that is not the reason why we gave them the award.
Follow the money, people.
And Josh, you're totally right. Affordability, they were the lowest because they know it and they charge a premium. But I think a lot of passengers these days will say, look, if all things considered, Delta's the most on-time airline. So if your time is worth any money, you'll pay a premium to get where you're going with relatively little headaches. And, even Delta's old planes look brand new because they refurb the cabins. Some of those planes that look brand new, they're like 25 years old. Unlike some airlines, like United has some rust buckets out there that are straight out of Home Alone. American Airlines still has like US Airways planes that don't even have power sockets. And so, Delta, you're going to get Wi-Fi. Now they're rolling out free Wi-Fi, family seating. During the pandemic, Delta was the nicest with like, not expiring frequent flyers, giving status. American Airlines, still expires frequent flyer miles. So they're the only loyalty program. So, no airline's perfect, but Delta is pretty good. And I think the biggest thing is their employees are so nice in general because they get profit sharing. So Delta employees are part of the success of the company. Most of the other airlines have horrible labor relations. They're always on the verge of a strike. You go on some airlines and they're visibly mad and they take it out on the consumer, which I don't agree with. But in general, Delta, they have some bad apples, but Delta flight attendants, gate agents, they're like happy to be there.
Yeah. Can we talk though about the Delta One check-in at JFK, where if you're first class on Delta, some of them don't have Delta One, right?
Yeah.
Like you can pay for a first class seat, but there's no premium way for you to check in and go. You have to go by the regular plebeian, even though I paid for a first class seat.
Yeah. So Delta has been, when it comes to lounges, Delta's had like one size fits all. Anyone with an Amex can go in the lounge. That's actually changing now, and soon, like next week, they're having a press unveiling of their new Delta One experience at JFK. So if you pay for that expensive LA or Europe flight on Delta One, you'll have a separate experience than just everyone else that's in the lounge. I mean, the lines out of the lounges these days are insane.
Yeah, they are.
I flew to Delta. I paid $7,000, Cape Town to Atlanta, and there was a line like a mile long at Hartsfield Airport for paid. There was a delineation, but it was still a line to get in. And I'm like, at that point, I'm not sitting there jet lagged waiting to get into a lounge where you can like wait in line to get a picked over buffet.
What was that service that Mrs. Pat spoke about, Josh?
Oh yeah, she has the private, like where she's taken right to the plane, the private ambassador.
The 360, Delta 360. Yeah.
Well, she has that, but she also gets like that thing, Brian, where you can literally pay for concierge service the moment you get to the airport.
Yeah, so people, so it's funny because people will try to get these secret airline, Delta 360, United Global Services, and you have to spend like $60,000 a year. And I know people who will just spend needlessly like extra flights to Asia at the end of the year just to hopefully get it. What they don't realize is you can just pay like $500 each time you fly, which isn't cheap, but they'll meet you at the curb, take you through secret lounges, et cetera. It's like a better deal to do that or pay $300 to $500 than spend like $20,000 unnecessarily with like hope and a prayer that they'll invite you into a secret club.
For $500, they'll pick you up at the beginning.
At the beginning, they'll bring you through security. Depending, they'll even pick you up on a golf car or drive you through immigration. So for families, especially if you've got kids, you've got a tight connection in Atlanta, coming home from South America, you can pay for the service, and they whisk you through everything.
Wow,
that's the ultimate luxury.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, I've prepared a couple questions throughout our podcast, and that leads me to my first one. What would you prefer? Getting to go directly on your flight, no matter what, right from the curbside, walk right onto your flight, or have access to the greatest lounges in the world?
I mean, time is money. I think, especially after becoming a dad, like when I want to spend as much time, especially before a trip, if I can't bring my son, like I want to minimize my time in the airport. Like I don't drink that much anymore, so like going to the lounge and getting wasted, which I used to do like in my 20s, kind of fun, but then you're like, you realize that's not like a sustainable way. You like just destroys you, especially internationally. So, and food, I mean, some of the lounges have okay food, but at the end of the day, it's still airport food. So I don't know. I have access to all the lounges. A lot of times I'll get a Starbucks and just go sit at a gate, go on my phone, just relax, not around people. Cause also like when I walk into an airline lounge, it's like that's like where I'm the most famous
celebrity.
Oh yeah, it's like
celebrity.
Cheers.
I always joke like if I need like a self-esteem boost, it's like walking to a Centurion lounge because I can immediately just feel eyes on me and like
oh my God,
like double takes and be like you're the reason I'm here, man. And, which I enjoy, but like if I'm traveling, sometimes I just want to be like,
Brian Kelly walks into a Ritz-Carlton and that GM's like, all hands on deck.
What's so funny? I have followers who are also called Brian Kelly, and I frequently they think I'm you, and I've gotten so many upgrades or whatever. Like,
wow.
Which is funny because a lot of times when I travel, I don't even get it. I actually have friends who will call ahead and say I'm traveling with Brian, like, and they'll get upgrades. Like, people are just scam artists.
Scam artists. This episode of the Good Guys Podcast is brought to you by Philadelphia Cream Cheese. You heard that right. Philadelphia Cream Cheese is sponsoring the Good Guys Podcast. Can you pinch me? Somebody pinch me. I must be dreaming. Philadelphia, an absolute staple, an absolute classic. And Philadelphia is the undisputed leader in cream cheese. But you didn't need me to tell you that. With over a dozen different flavors and 3 unique formats, it's extremely versatile and can be used to enhance any meal or snack. Philadelphia cream cheese makes everything creamier. Okay, so we know I love a bagel lox and cream cheese, okay? Toasted everything bagel, a nice schmear of Philadelphia cream cheese, some high quality lox. Maybe I made it myself. Maybe I bought it. Who knows? Little thin red onion, some cucumbers, some dill. But Philadelphia cream cheese is the star. Or add it to a dish. Secret ingredient in mac and cheese, I put a little Philadelphia cream cheese. Makes it that much creamier, that much more delicious. Philadelphia cream cheese is where it's at. The undisputed king of cream cheese, undisputed leader in cream cheese. Use it on bagels, but of course, use it in other things, recipes, mac and cheese, pastas. It's absolutely fantastic. Big, big fan. And think of Philadelphia beyond just bagels. I'm the bagel king, and I love a bagel with Philadelphia cream cheese, lox, etc.
but it's also so much more than that. It's a true thickener for recipes. I love it in pastas, but casseroles, you name it. And Philadelphia makes everything creamier. Visit creamcheese.com. What a URL for recipe inspiration and to purchase Philadelphia cream cheese so you can start adding it to your recipes at home. Visit creamcheese.com.
Yeah, I've got a
It's back to these lounges though. I can't walk through LaGuardia and not be angry at how beautiful it is and how long they now have made it for me to get to my gate.
Yeah.
To Josh's question, like I personally prefer right onto the plane. Don't even offer me a bottle of water. If I can get immediately onto the plane, that's the dream.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to talk about these XOs and these JSXs and like all of these, like, not yet. Well, I know Josh has a lot of questions, but these like semi-privates, I feel like they're the way of the future. They feel so much cheaper than they should be.
Yeah.
And so much more convenient.
Yeah.
Like
No, I love those. Yeah. Saving time, hassle is the name of the game.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a new crop of airport lounges, the credit card lounges. So I don't know if you've been to the Chase Sapphire Lounge at LaGuardia.
No.
It's probably the most insane lounge in all of America. It's like beautiful, super high end. Capital One has new lounges that are Pelotons, fresh food, like, craft coffee, good cocktails. So there are some really nice, I would say overall the lounges are getting better. Like 10 years ago, lounges were like cubes, like cranky businessmen and like cubes of cheese and pretzel ramekins. Now, they are better, but they are crowded.
Quick tangent. Do you know anybody that banks with Capital One?
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people do.
Really?
Yeah. Why?
Do you, Josh?
Oh, what? Like the Capital One cafes? Like
I just don't know anyone. Like I feel like it's like one big Ponzi scheme. I see all these cafes, and I just like
Capital One's a big bank. I mean, I love their credit cards. I don't do my banking.
They're
with
credit
them.
cards.
Yeah.
But I see these banks. I'm like, who uses these banks?
I don't know, Ben. Like last year, I remember that Silicon Valley Bank went down. I'm like, who banks with them? And Ben was like, me. Yeah. I do.
Yeah, no, but that was like a startup bank, whatever. We've moved on. Don't worry. We pulled all our money. We're good. We're good.
No, the good old JB bailed you out. Thank God.
Thank God.
But yeah, no, I know. I pass. We can cut that out.
No, it's good. Keep going.
But I know what you mean. There's certainly banks where I go like, who's banking with like First West Mutual of Omaha, Denmark Bank?
Yeah. There's like millions of banks.
Yeah, there are. I'm just saying Capital One is like a premier bank, massive. I don't know anybody that has a checking account. That's all. I agree they're credit cards.
Yeah.
Successful, clearly. But I just don't
Brian,
don't know anybody that banks with them.
Do you judge? I was once asking a flight attendant this. I was like, do you judge a pilot on a rough landing? She goes, hell yes. Do you?
For sure. And I just want to get back to Ben. Ben, how often are you asking your friends and family where they bank? Is this like of all your friends? Like, why are you shocked at this Capital One revelation? Like, do you know where all of your friends and family bank?
No, but I assume.
You know what happens when you assume?
It's Chase or TD. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I assume it's Chase or TD.
I think.
Doesn't it feel that way?
No, I think you're completely wrong.
Are you Chase?
I'm Chase. Yeah, for the most part. Chase and.
See, I assumed. Josh, are you Chase?
No,
he's like fifth, third. Wait, what are all the celebrities like that Fifth Third Bank or whatever? What's that one?
I'm cutting this out, but we're all City National.
Oh, City National. That's what it is. Yeah.
So you think my
we're all going to get doxxed.
You think my Capital One call is a terrible call?
Yeah, probably.
I think so. Yeah, 'cause it's like a really well-known, well-regarded
They have
company.
Sam Jackson money. They could afford Spike Lee in their commercials.
I think they have a lot of like
fine.
online. They have like a lot of those online high-yield checking too. I think they have like a lot of digital bank accounts.
Gotta look into them.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right. Capital One, reach out.
There goes the sponsorship. We are screwed. We are screwed.
But back to landings. Do you judge? I mean, most landings are pretty fine. Have you ever had any scary? I've had like one aborted landing where in Hong Kong we landed after 16 hours, literally touched the ground, and then they gunned it again.
Margot just had this. Did she tell you about this?
No, but I'm not shocked because I feel like she's got a black cloud over all
she
of
does
her.
with flying. Margot just landed in Nashville. The plane like apparently slammed down. It was a terrible landing and then went straight back up.
Oh my gosh.
And the oxygen mask dropped and she had a
wow.
full-blown panic
I've
attack.
never had the oxygen mask drop.
And they like didn't use them, but like slammed back up.
And meanwhile, she can't even see what's happening because she's at a seat with no window.
Do you know this about Margot? Josh, every plane that she gets on, she never has a window. Like, she'll
She's
pick
in
an
the
economy
weird
seat.
in-between?
No, yeah, and she'll just
Even
look to
in-
the right and there's no window.
I upgraded her once to first class when she was going somewhere, and she was like literally texted like, "You've got to be kidding me." She got the one seat that
With
like
no
didn't have a
window?
window. We were dying.
I've had two emergency or two where they've had to pull back up. What I don't like about that is they never say
They
in
never.
the moment. They just do it, and then they'll tell. I had someone say it like after we had landed. It added like an extra 30 minutes. Like we clearly were about to land, and then we're all of a sudden above the clouds, and like, yeah, we had a little wind shear warning, had to go around a couple times.
But
I'm like,
meanwhile,
well,
all
tell
300
me.
people on the plane are thinking they're about to die for 30 minutes straight. Like a simple, hey, everything's fine. We just have to go around would like bring everyone's anxiety down dramatically. But
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. They're flying the plane, but you can make an announcement.
Or the flight attendant
Yeah.
who wouldn't shut the fuck up for the last
Yeah.
2 hours. Like,
I
she
think
could
they
say
probably
something.
like it because everyone's silent and just like compliant
Yeah.
for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So they like to keep people in that state of shock. Like,
Yeah.
Would you rather have an annoying, overly attentive flight attendant or no flight attendant at all?
Oh, overly annoying. I like service. I hate, that's my pet peeve, especially when you pay for business class and they disappear. You like,
Right.
I mean, I will hit the call button, and then sometimes they still won't even come. But yeah,
What's the best airline for food in a first class?
I mean, Air France La Première is really good. They've got like Michelin quality, like really, I think their champagne actually could be a little bit better, but they're really good. And, you know, of all the first classes out there, and Air France, what sets them apart, when you land in Paris, they pick you up in a 7 Series at the plane.
Wow.
And then whisk you off, you know, through private security or immigration. That's like, they are like primo there. So yeah, I think Air France, the Asian carriers are very good too. Singapore Airlines, the Middle Eastern carriers are, their food isn't amazing, but the in-flight experience, like, you know, the showers on Emirates and things like that.
Speaking of food, Josh, did you hear that clams are back at White Castle?
Clams?
Would you eat clams on a plane?
I was
Clams on a plane.
I was driving past a White Castle yesterday, and I looked to my right. There's a huge sign that says "Clams are back," and I googled it. And White Castle now serves clams.
Or they like fried clam po' boy or something?
Oh, I'm in.
How disgusting is that?
I like
White-
to play Russian roulette with my gut health. I am in, babe.
You know, sometimes it's good to just give it a nice shock. You
Yeah.
know, like shake it up a
Yeah.
little bit.
They've been shocked.
Yeah.
Our systems have been shocked from the food.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Try
It's
us.
try us exactly like that. Was it El Al where we had that salmon that?
We made the local news in Israel.
Yeah.
People, it was literally, El Al, we were in first class in the 747. They literally served, it was
Rancid.
absolutely
Rancid.
rancid food. I will tell anyone listening, I always like to give tips in the podcast. I was flying once, a friend, after like a weekend, we were in Stockholm. He got a chicken Caesar salad sandwich from a vending machine at 8 a.m. on a Sunday in Stockholm, which I was like, dude, that's not a good idea. Like Caesar salads to begin with have a shelf life. From a vending machine, it's been sitting there. And I swear we got up in the air, and this was on a fully packed plane. We're in economy. This is like my pre-TPG days. And the flight attendant's coming back, taking orders. He's in the seat in front of me. And I swear, I thought his can of Diet Coke blew. But no, he just projectile vomited. The flight attendant screamed, turned around, and ran down the front of the plane. And everyone, there was not a single other seat to move to. No one could move. So the flight attendant came up with, it was Delta, these like Coach blankets, the really thin ones. She dumped a bunch of powder in the aisle, just put the blankets on top, and then continued food service. Everyone, we sat there in this smelly puke for like 7 hours.
from the chicken Caesar.
Yeah. So word of the wise, Caesar salads in general, you want to get never from a vending machine, fresh from a nice hotel maybe, but be careful of vending machine food before a flight.
Yeah, nasty.
This episode of the Good Guys podcast is brought to you by Nutrafol. You know, as we enter our 30s, it's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. We are going to start thinning a little bit. And, you know, I'm really tall. There's been a debate on the podcast. There's been a debate. How tall is Ben? Ben's around 6'2", all right, 6'1.5". So I don't normally worry about the top of my head, right? Because who's going to look down on me? But the truth is, I have some thinning hair up top. And I started using Nutrafol about 6 months ago. decreased my shedding, which is my number one goal. Hair is thicker, decrease shedding. It's absolutely fantastic. And summer's finally here, and that means more days spent outside at the park, on the beach, or in the pool. Make sure you're taking extra care of your hair this summer, like me, since sun, salt, and SPF can all affect your hair health. Now is the perfect time to start taking Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. Everyone's root cause of hair thinning are different, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas that are tailored to give your hair what it needs to grow throughout different stages, such as postpartum and menopause, as well as for different lifestyles, such as plant-based diets. Hello, Marshall. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GoodGuys10. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code GoodGuys10. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code GoodGuys10.
That's nuts. That leads me to my next question. If you were given the choice to fly 50% private, but the other 50%'s got to be Spirit, would you do it?
So first, let me say, Spirit's not as bad as people make it out to. So I would do Spirit because
you're not running for president, Brian. You're the points guy.
I'm a man of the people. Well, first of all, let me tell you why Spirit's not that bad. They actually are a pretty on-time airline. In all of the low-cost carriers, so this is where people make a mistake. People will just try to play the game and lose, where you go with the cheapest fare, and then you've got to thread a tight needle to make sure you win at that game. Like, you need to know the sizing, everything. And I know people who are like, especially in Europe, they learn that early on flying Ryanair. But the thing is, you can pay $10 and be treated like an ultimate king on Spirit. So, like, I book last minute all the time. And the thing with flying American or United, Delta, all their elite members take all the good seats on a plane. So I don't mind flying economy, but I have to be in an exit row. I have to be in a bulkhead. Those get booked up months in advance on the big carriers. So when I fly Spirit, everyone's so cheap, no one pays for seating assignments. So you can always, last minute, get the best seats on the plane. And they have this upfront seat, which is like a first class recliner. And so, yeah, it's like if you spend a little bit extra, but everyone has a mentality of like, I have to just get it the cheapest. But you spend a little bit on fees and you're treated really well and can get the best seats.
I don't know where this rumor came from that if you fly Spirit or Frontier, you care less for your life than you do if you fly Delta. These planes aren't crashing.
No, funny enough, flying private's way more dangerous than any commercial aircraft. In 2023, so for all the nervous flyers out there, which I know there's so many, that's one of the top questions I get. 2023, there was only one crash out of 30 million flights. 60 people died in Nepal. It was pilot error, sad thing. But like out of, it's like astronomically low, the amount of people who died from aviation. Private aviation is still safer than driving, but is definitely more dangerous. More private jets go down than commercial aircraft. So Spirit, any low-cost carrier, frankly, there are some airlines that aren't allowed to fly to the U.S., but generally commercial flying is insanely safe no matter the carrier.
I was doing a TV show with John Stamos, and it was an interesting block of TV because it was me and John Stamos, and then the next show was Rob Lowe and Fred Savage. And so we were all on a private jet once, and I was like, if this plane goes down, you can just erase the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have like the key man clause. They have to be on separate planes for the rest of their lives. Just to preserve
Rob and John go down.
The cultural heritage of this great nation.
So when are they going to get points for these like semi-private airlines? Is that coming like for the XOs or for the JSXs, or it's all going to be a cash game?
Not really, because those they sell themselves based on like the experience. Like the major airlines have to give away points and status because they're all essentially the same.
Sure.
Delta charges a premium, and that's why, but yeah, I don't think that there's going to be huge points. The margins there are pretty low. In aviation in general, I mean, we've seen JetSmarter came and crashed, and well, I shouldn't use the word crashed. And in aviation, JetSmarter melted down because it's just really tough to make that private and I'm hoping JSX survives. And, they even have Bark Air now for dogs, which
Yeah.
I think is cool. They're getting sued. The interesting thing that major airlines try to sue, like JSX is being sued by all the majors because they just want to bleed them dry. So their margins are not big enough. The only reason why points exist today in the way that they do is because the credit cards make so much money for the airlines. So the credit card, Delta, 1% of US GDP goes on a Delta co-branded credit card. And Delta is making a percentage of all of that. I think Delta made $7 billion of revenue last year from just their credit cards. It's like a massive, basically the airlines are profitable only because of their frequent flyer programs. So JSX isn't going to be able to have a huge credit card portfolio that would make sense. It really would almost be like a rebate on already very razor thin margins.
So people ask me this all the time. How does Brian and how does the points guy make money? Like, are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, I mean, so
Because I find it fascinating.
Full disclosure, so I no longer run the Points Guy. I'm not involved in the day-to-day decisions. Like, I'm our head spokesperson. I'm not, at liberty to talk about. I'm not going to give any money.
Back in the day, not today.
But fundamentally,
Yeah.
I mean, I started the Points Guy as a blog in 2010, and I started monetizing it, doing affiliate marketing. A friend of mine was at what is now Rakuten, was called Linkshare. And he was like, you're writing about the Amex Platinum. You should get approved to be an affiliate. And meanwhile, I had like 50,000 monthly uniques to my website then. I was like, no one knows about the Points Guy. And he's like, actually, you'd be surprised. The Amex team at the affiliate, they love your website. And you're very, generally, I'm very positive about credit cards because that's the best way to get points.
Yep.
So once I got into affiliate marketing, which basically just means instead of writing americanexpress.com/platinum, I would just use my personal link, which affiliate marketing is very normal today. Influencers, that's how everyone's making money, get a portion of my outfit of the day, et cetera. In 2011, it was not. I was almost like, is this scammy? Am I tricking people into clicking a link? But in the credit card world, if you can convince someone to get a credit card, which requires a credit check and approval, instead of getting like 2% of a sale, it was like very significant. It was like $300 and up per credit card. And just so, for me, my audience was business travelers, bankers, lawyers, the people who are creditworthy, and they trusted me, and it made sense for them because the sign-up bonuses were big. So I started making money through affiliate marketing and credit cards. And then as the Points Guy grew from like me to a media brand with, we now have 140 employees. We now sell sponsorships. We've got more than just a site. It's, social media, newsletters, et cetera. So we've built a media brand. But, in general, the Points Guy, was able to grow due to, partnering with credit cards. I mean, in 2016, we launched the Chase Sapphire Reserve with Chase. We had a exclusive deal with them. We were the only blog that got paid on that card at the time. And that was what took us to the next stratosphere. And then once the credit card companies realized you can work with the Points Guy, we are built into all the people who are points people in their world. So, even if we have 10 million monthly uniques, our reach is much further because our hardcore readers tell their friends what credit cards to get. They're tastemakers in their own world. So yeah, that's the long and short. It was credit card affiliate revenue.
Fascinating.
So let's say you're on a date with a lovely fellow, talking it up.
Did you just out me?
I was going to say,
I know
way
it's
to
a-
assume his sexuality.
I know it's Pride Month, but
Well, it was nice knowing you guys before I get canceled.
Yeah.
But you're on a date with a lovely person.
and he uses a debit card.
Yeah.
This
and they use
happens.
a
We can
debit
talk-
card. And they use a debit card. What do you do?
So first, it is a challenge, I have to say.
By the way, you should really just talk about this from the purview of my wife, because the day that Brian met Claudia, she had a debit card. Josh.
Actually, that's the reason why Claudia
Wow.
Claudia was on Instagram, and we had been following each other and just doing stupid pop culture stuff. And Claudia one day was like, "I don't get it. Why does everyone have points and my Chase debit card isn't getting me anywhere? It doesn't make sense." I was like, "You moron!"
That is an amazing impression of
Yeah,
Claudia, by the way.
And she's like, I was like, it's not that hard. She's like, come on the morning breath. So the rest was history. But I have to it's funny. I mean, my dating, my dating stories are really funny because people will either pretend to not know me
Yeah.
and go overly I have no idea what points are. I don't know what you do. I've never traveled in my life.
People
Just to
love
be
that.
because they're trying to play it cool. Oh, I'm not gonna, which to me is just so disingenuous because I'm like, I researched you. I know you're an attorney here because I Googled you. You saying you didn't, and I in my dating profile, I'm not trying to hide who I am or whatever. Anyway,
They're like, I'm a Greyhound guy. I wouldn't know you.
yeah, well, people will, it's like either or I literally had a guy go, oh, I was on my family text chain saying I'm going on a date with the points guy. And my mom was saying, bring your passport in case he takes you to the Maldives. And I'm like, that's like
We
a little
don't
too,
go to the Maldives
Oh, I
anymore, don't you know?
I just saw that. That is such a shame because Maldives
I know.
are
I never got to go.
beautiful. But yeah, that's,
Can you sneak me in? We'll tell no one.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get there anyways?
there's plenty of other places. French, so Maldives are beautiful, but I mean, Josh, have you been to Bora Bora, Tahiti?
I haven't, but it looks
But
insane.
honestly, it's 8 hours from LA versus like 23 hours from New York. So, wow, you know, French. I love Bora Bora, and even the island of Moorea in Tahiti is amazing. With you can actually, that's where I went and swam with humpback whales. You can actually get in the water. It's terrifying. Your wife would literally decease.
And then she'd love it though.
Can
That's so Claudia.
You know the story of Claudia and the BVIs. I took her and we were boating in beautiful blue water, and she's afraid of fish.
Yeah.
She literally has a fish phobia. She started screaming. There were these beautiful parrotfish, blood curdling scream in the water. Get me out! Get me out! She comes out. I'm like, Claudia, you have a fear of fish? She goes, no, that's totally normal. And she goes, I'm like, I'm crying. The boat captain is like, ma'am, with all due respect, that is not normal. I've never once in my life, you know, these are like beautiful, colorful fish. Claudia was like gaslighting us. She's like, you guys are crazy. Everyone's afraid of fish.
And Brian, you're the polar opposite. Like, you're afraid of nothing.
I mean,
Like, as it relates to, you go on, honestly, talk about these dives. Like, that's really like, you go on these amazing vacations. I've been fortunate to go on some of them with you, but like, you're a scuba diving savant.
well, I had to actually in the Maldives when I was there in March, I had a bad experience. The currents were crazy and I got slammed into the coral reef and had like cuts. It was a full-blown panic attack. I luckily, you know, when scuba diving, you have to not panic because that doesn't help when you're below water.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually kind of I will still scuba dive, but I'm going to be much more conservative. I think also that I'm a single dad, that I'm trying, like, I love horses and jumping horses, but probably not the best, you know? So I'm trying to, like, everything is risk in life, right? But I generally do love scuba, and you see sharks, you see, but
you had a bad experience. I didn't even know this. So
yeah.
what happened?
So basically, you know, when you fly all the way to the Maldives, so I went out on dive sites that were really boring. And I said to them, hey, I flew 24 hours to get here. Like, take me to see the good stuff. Like, I'm an advanced diver. I have advanced certification. And they were like, well, the currents can be strong, but like, we'll take you to this one area. I was with this Italian dive instructor. He's cool. But we get into the water, and a current isn't a bad thing because it's kind of nice. It can push you along, so you don't even have to swim. You're just like cruising in this crystal clear water. Great. But it was like getting shot out of a cannon, and like underwater, that makes it hard to turn and stuff. So I had to get out of the jet stream, and getting off it, like I hit into the reef and I didn't have a full wetsuit on. And then I didn't realize like reef is like living organism that got stuck in my skin. So for like a month, it was kind of gnarly. And in addition, I kind of had a head cold. So when you go underwater real quick, my head was like pounding and my heart rate's through the roof. I'm bleeding. It was like not a great situation.
Josh, are you also having a panic attack listening to this story? Because I fully can't breathe. Like,
I'm just thinking about, tell me you're doing well without telling me you're doing well. Is your main hobbies are equestrian and scuba?
I know. It's so funny too. I was getting insurance, like life insurance or something once, and they followed me on Instagram and they were like, respectfully, no.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I am like,
I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have put those horse jumping videos. And like I had fallen that week too. And I think I put on my story like, oh, haha, fell off my horse, but I'm fine, you know.
Thank God you're alive for a million reasons, but that's like such a classic story where people die. Like, you went in, you're like, I want to scuba dive. They're like, okay, you can scuba dive here. You're like, oh no, I want something that's off book.
Yeah.
And like it's
and I generally don't do that. With scuba, I'm pretty like, so I don't know why I did that. And the guy actually said it was way worse than he thought.
What about Turks and Caicos?
Turks and Caicos are great too. But there's something about
where did
the
we
South
go for
Pacific.
the diving? Where did we go? That crap hole that we dove at? What was the?
Oh my God, Turks and Caicos. Do you
No,
remember when?
not in Turks.
Oh, the Belize. And I didn't even go.
Belize.
We're not ready.
Oh my
We're not
God.
ready.
Brian like texted us, I guess, 6 months before we went on this trip. We went for New Year's, Josh, to Belize 2 years ago, I think, at this point. He texted us, he's like, Belize is up and coming. It's going to be amazing. This place, like, we're getting in before anybody. We get there. Belize is a fucking shithole. I'm sorry.
Oh my
And
God. The Belize tourism board right now is going,
Great.
Shit.
Great.
Shit.
Yeah, they should be going shit because also, should we tell the story about, have you told the story before?
I've never told the story.
Should we tell the story?
You can tell the story.
We have to tell it now.
Brian was almost murdered in Belize. That, by the way, call that the title. Clickbait.
Oh.
Brian was almost murdered in Belize.
No, my God.
This episode of the Good Guys podcast is brought to you by KiwiCo. Whether you're staying home or headed out on summer explorations, KiwiCo is inviting kids and kids at heart to enjoy their first ever summer adventure series. Kids from 2 years old to teens can receive 6 hands-on science and art project kits over 6 weeks with enriching content and fun activities to accompany each project. KiwiCo has something for everyone and offers different topics for each age, whether your child wants to explore space or learn about dinosaurs. As you guys know, I'm out in the Hamptons for the summer. It is what it is with my entire family, and that means my nieces and nephews. And, you know, I've been on a bit of a cooking kick. I am a celebrity chef, so I thought, why not get the Fun Dough Pasta Maker for my nieces and nephews? They get to learn how to make pasta. They get to see shapes. They get to learn about squares and circles and triangles and make it into ravioli. Ravioli, how amazing is that? Imagine I got to learn at that age how to make beautiful triangular ravioli. How amazing? How amazing would I be now? How amazing? Honestly, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of them. That's right. I am jealous of them. KiwiCo engages kids to get outside, explore, and stay off their screens. Awesome projects from the Summer Adventure series, like the Bottle Rocket Kit, where kids build an actual bottle rocket. How cool is that? Help to turn the outdoors into a playground of learning and fun. So build the best summer ever with KiwiCo. Get 20% off your summer adventure series at kiwico.com/goodguysummer. That's 20% off your summer adventure at kiwico.com/goodguysummer. GOODGUYSSUMMER.
Are you good with me telling?
I mean, it's just truth. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
We can always cut it out. We can cut out anything, Brian.
No,
so
we're telling.
don't sweat
We're
it.
telling it. Belize is a shithole, and Brian was almost murdered in Belize. And you can call that the title. He was almost murdered. He went out. Him and our friend John and me and Claudia and Margot were on vacation.
I mean, I guess, I'm just going to tell the story. I've never told it before.
Tell this story.
I just think, I have to tell, I struggle with it because, I don't want to I think being a representative of tourism, I don't want to hurt people's, but I think it's just true. You have to also just tell the truth. So we're in Belize, Ambergris Cay. Is that, I think that's Ambergris Cay. Anyway, and we went out in town to dinner. You guys stayed home that night.
Yeah, Brian said to us, he's like, we're going to go into town. And me and Claudia are like, yeah, we're good. We're fine.
Thank God. Because
if Claudia was there,
she would have had a heart attack.
Yeah.
It was actually the most frightening experience ever traveling. But we're walking out of dinner, and it's New Year, the night before New Year's Eve. And so we're walking by this bar that we were told to go to, the hot spot in town. We're like, let's just go to a different one first. And I saw a guy on the street, and I swore I saw a gun on his side, but I think in a state of denial, I was like, no, it wasn't a gun. It's like, what do I know? Or maybe he's an off-duty cop, but I definitely clocked it. I was like, And then about 30 seconds later, and we're on the north side of the street. 30 seconds later, we hear pop, 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 and everyone's eating outside in these cafes with open windows, and no one flinches. And we went up to someone, at the restaurant. They're like, oh, no, it's New Year's. There's fireworks. But my spidey sense was kind of going off. And then what did it for me was the dog started flying down the street. The dogs knew something was up. And I remember thinking, this isn't. So then we started seeing some people run, and people started screaming, shooting. Mind you, my best friend, Becca, had just told me she was pregnant at dinner. So I'm like, and luckily my son, who was in Belize, was at the hotel with his nanny. But we had to run into a storefront, and they closed the doors behind us. We went into the back. We hid behind clothing racks. And the craziest thing about it was there were never police sirens. There were no police sirens. I don't know if it was because they don't want to alarm tourists on the island whenever this thing happens, but we were 15 minutes. There was actually a woman in the shop who was a local, starts screaming, I know, Charlie, I'm going to get Charlie. And we're like, stop, stay here. And she's like, let me out. And we're like, because at this point, there's an active shooter on the street. And finally, I call our driver. Everyone there drives golf carts. One thing I've learned, like traveling, I'm always going to be like in control of my transportation, and like golf carts. So I had a driver the whole trip, like in a minivan. So I just like WhatsApp the driver. I was like, we got to just bounce, because it was crazy. No cops were coming. There's a shooter on the loose. Finally, the driver pulls up. We just run out, get back to the hotel. And sadly, an American tourist, she was on the street, on the other side of the street. She was 22 on the back of a golf cart with her family, like nursing student from New Orleans, and she was killed. It was like really, really.
In the middle of our trip to Belize, Josh, this happened.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Insane.
So it was like the tail end. We spent New Year's at the hotel and we left. And I struggled to tell the story because I'm not trying to say, Belize City, which is on the mainland, has lots of crime. We were told we weren't going to hang out in Belize City. That's known. We flew in, flew right out. And, we live in America. So I'm very cognizant, like gun violence happens here a lot. I do not want to just be like, this is a Latin American issue. Obviously, we have gun violence in America. However, I think everyone traveling, and, the State Department just issued like an alert for Pride celebrations. Like in this day and age, like, you have to be prepared as much as you can. So always know, I would just say the point of this segment is always know your surroundings, always know where exits are, and always have the 911 number. It's not 911 in most countries. So whenever you go to a foreign country, register with the State Department. They have what's called the STEP program. You can register where you are. If there's a landslide or anything like that, they need to know you're there. So, and then also just know your exits. And please take this from me. Whenever you go to a hotel, the next time you're at a hotel and every time thereafter, know where, when you get off the elevator, where your room is, and know where the exit stairs are. Because if that smoke is filling the hallway, and that's a matter of life and death, you knowing where the exit is, it seems so simple, but that, in many cases, if there's a fire, if you don't know which side of the hallway and you can't see it, you could literally die. So, not to take a dark turn,
it's my bad.
This is really, these tips were given to me many years ago. Always kind of, and if you're at a crowded event, always know where the exits are. Like, you have to be aware these days. You can't just assume, that everything's going to be okay. In my case, I don't think there was anything we could have done. We were in the main crowded area. From what we learned, it was a gang fight. The owner of the bar we were supposed to go to apparently didn't pay off the gang, something like that. It was retribution. And sadly, the tourists got caught in the crossfire. So Belize has amazing diving, and there are many amazing other smaller islands that, I know many people enjoy, but that was, definitely a scary experience.
This is why I go ground level at the Marriott Courtyard, no matter what.
So you can
I'm
run, yeah.
I'm on the first floor. I'm climbing out the window. What's on your naughty country list that you'd love to see if you could? I'm talking North Korea. I'm talking Turkmenistan. I'm talking Tehran.
Yeah. So interestingly, Iran, I know a lot of Iranian American friends and it's such like a culturally like rich country that.
It looks fabulous.
And I know a lot of people have been to I know like probably 10 of the people have been to every country in the world, and Iran is consistently, the people, the culture and food is great. It just sucks. Their government is so horrible. And they actually, there's a tourism board there that keeps inviting me, and I'm just like, respectfully, not for me. I'll go to Dubai personally, being a gay out man, like in Dubai, frankly, it's,
we can't go to Iran. The three of us cannot go for various
But it's a
reasons.
shame because it really
Well,
is.
hold on. Wait to hear the offer from the tourism board. Don't shoot us in the foot right
one-way
away,
ticket.
Ben.
Hey, why is this ticket one way?
It might not be a lot of deliverables. Maybe just it's a story. 6 figures for a story.
Yeah. 6 figures in Iranian
Yeah.
rupee. No.
Yeah. No,
North Korea sounds fabulous. I will not go to North Korea even because of just, what's the guy's name? That poor
Otto,
he was tortured. What people don't realize in most countries, like the US is not going to protect you. And actually, if you go to the State Department website, it specifically states we cannot and will not help you if you're arrested. And a lot of people, I know one of my favorite TV shows is Locked Up Abroad. And granted, that's mostly about drug smugglers, but a lot of people violate rules. Gay men, a gay guy was in Morocco recently, and Qatar just got arrested for trying to go on Grindr. People, we have this mindset of like, oh, I'm American, like my government will bail me out. they will not. Let's be clear, everyone. If you do dumb shit, even if you have Adderall and you go to Japan, Adderall can get you like locked up, like in flying to certain countries. So another tip, like with all your medications, double check that they're, especially the ones that are like hard to get, like the protected ones, like, you might be able to get out and plead ignorance, but you'd be shocked some places where you could literally go to jail. And
I would not do well in a foreign jail.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do well in a domestic jail.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Have you been to jail?
I've never been to jail.
Have you been to jail, Josh?
No, but I think minimum security is something fun. I need friends.
Well, I would do well.
communal.
I would do well in the Latin American jails because did you know that they actually don't give you food or anything, but if you have money, you're treated like a king. So there's like a caste system, and the people with outside money, you employ people to protect you. You employ people that you live like a king. And you pay off all the guards. I'm
in.
Yeah.
All right, cool. In.
I would start one of those cooking channels on a phone that I snuck into to the jail, and I'm like, making ramen off my radiator. I say, why not? It would make me industrious.
Yeah, I think I die in jail.
It's
okay.
It's like one of my biggest fears. I'm like, what am I doing that could get me? You look at people who have gone to jail that we know.
No, it used to be. I used to have these like dreams.
I'm paying my taxes. I double check sometimes. Yeah, I have dreams too. I'm like checking my account. And I'm like, I'm paid up, right? Like, what are the things I could do that?
But I used to have that classic dream, which I've heard many other people have had, where like you didn't submit a final and you never graduated.
Yeah.
Right, and then that goes away, and then the dreams start of what did I forget to do that's going to land me in prison.
I have the one drunk driving. So in high school, I was hit by a drunk driver. Luckily, I was fine, but a lot of people in this whole thing were not. And now I never ever like drive drunk. Even after a couple of I always Uber. Like I don't understand all these like rich people and celebrities that don't Uber.
So dumb.
And I have a dream where I'm like drinking and drunk and I'm like just getting in behind the wheels and I'm like, Brian, this is stupid. Don't do it. And I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just drive slow. And then of course the lights come on and I'm like, I'm literally going to jail. And then I wake up like in a cold sweat. So
oh no,
that's my anxiety dream.
Yeah, no good. No bueno.
Josh, what's your anxiety dream?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, usually I'm falling. I'm just falling. I'm in a free fall and I literally wake up and I like go whoosh.
Yeah.
Like re-fall into the bed, but I don't know. I'm dosing myself on quite a bit of CBD at night to avoid all thoughts. Should we get to a speak pipe really quick?
Yes, please. And speak pipes, Ryan, are where our audience calls in, has some questions. I think Josh pulled some wonderful airline-related questions, but
let's do it.
I tried to get close. Here's one from Lauren.
Hi, Ben and Josh. Huge moron here. My name's Lauren. I'm just driving along and listening to some old episodes of you guys because I am a newer listener, about a year, so I just binge on your other episodes when it's not Monday or Thursday. But I have a question since you guys are frequent flyers. I know you both fly quite a bit. So here's my question. Zones, right? Zone 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. Why does it make sense? Actually, it's a what are you nuts? Why do we load the plane from the front of the plane to the back of the plane? So for those of us in zone 9, we hit everybody's arm and everyone stares at us as we're walking to the back of the airplane. First class, sure, whatever, get on first. But why do they load from the front to the back? Is there a reason?
Excellent question. Next time you call in, brevity. Brevity. The very short question is, why do we board front to back instead of back to front? I think it's an excellent question.
Well, I don't think most planes board front to back. So they board the front, the first class, the elite passengers, which kind of are the front, and then it does do back to middle sort of.
Why don't they just board back to front?
Some airlines have tried this over the years,
Like just give first class a different time. Like come at, we're supposed to board at 4:10.
I know, I wish first class boarded last. I enjoy
so you
as
show
little,
up last.
time on the plane as possible. It's business. So the airlines are making money on charging, the credit card companies for that, benefit for their customers are making they pay the airlines a lot of money. So it's all based on economics, not But they do balance that with like they want the planes to board quickly because in a lot of airports they got to get that plane out, and even a minute saved boarding can save the airline millions of dollars. But my simple answer is nothing with the airlines makes sense, so that's why.
Yeah, I would be in favor of back to front boarding. Just saying, if it's a 4:10 departure, you tell people first class your boarding time is 4:05.
Yeah,
It's not 3:30.
yeah.
Everybody else comes early because you paid less money, you have less time. First class, you just go. It could make it closer to a private experience if you're really much faster. I'm just saying, somebody should listen to us.
Word up. Next one's from Kate.
Hi, my name is Kate. I live in Germany, and I recently went on a trip to Italy with my mom and my husband and our toddler. And we stayed at an Airbnb, and in Europe, you have to separate. The trash is very specific. Like there's regular trash, then there's food waste, then there's plastic, then there's paper.
Load of crap.
So they asked when we came to the Airbnb that we separate our trash. So we did the best we could. It gets a little dicey with like diapers and things. So we put that in its own bag. We did our best for plastic and paper. And sometimes it's a little confusing. It's like, well, there's food on the plastic, so does that go in the food bin or the plastic bin? So at the end of this day, I left my review for the host, and they left their review for me. And their review said something along the lines of, great guests, very polite. However, they left our house a mess. They didn't separate the trash properly, and the towels and sheets were very dirty. And so my question is, we paid a €90 cleaning fee for Airbnb, and in addition to that, we cleaned up the apartment. But in addition to that, you use towels and sheets while you're staying there. You have a cleaning fee. I have a toddler. I guess this is a what do you nuts, but
That makes me very frustrated. These cleaning fees for Airbnb kills me.
Same. And I am an authority on this topic because I Airbnb my river property. So I know it from a host and a guest perspective. And let me just tell you, like you should not have to be cleaning like sheets, changing. That's the point
Insane.
of a cleaning fee. And the point of hospitality is you get to, enjoy someone's place, leave it in good shape, don't break stuff, but like you leave it in order, but the sheets and towels. So I'm totally those people seem super uptight, and I think you should, this is where Airbnb, another tip for people, when you book Airbnb, pay for travel insurance. I know so many people, especially festivals, who have Airbnbs canceled last minute, and then every other option's like 5 times the price. So the travel insurance is like it can be 6 to 10% of the total cost of your trip. Airbnb, we all know you save so much money over a hotel. Take the mindset of, let me just buy travel insurance, because if something goes wrong with that Airbnb is not putting you up in the next best place.
Yeah.
At best, you're getting a refund and you're up shit's creek because there's nothing available. Travel insurance will cover far more, and always put it on a credit card that has protections, because everything I hear, the Airbnb customer service is terrible, and so many people have been left in bad situations. So just take it as like, you're saving so much money with Airbnb. Let me get travel insurance on it in case they cancel and you need to get a more expensive option.
Excellent tip. Those hosts, disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting.
They should be kicked off the app.
They're nuts.
You're expecting people to do their laundry with your towels
and then charging
sheets?
them a cleaning fee.
But even without the fee,
Yeah.
That's like you're staying at my house. I'm staying at your house. I've never once cleaned the sheets after I stayed. Like even as a guest, like it's the same thing, right? Like when you have a guest in your house, do you ask them to do the laundry?
Well, I would say if you were at Brian's house and he wasn't there, like if you use someone's place while they're out of town or whatever, and they're like, oh, I have a summer home, enjoy it, you would do the sheets.
I wouldn't do the sheets. I wouldn't.
Oh, you're not.
I'd make the bed.
You make Claudia. I thought you were going to say I'd make Claudia do it, but I would.
No, I'd make.
You use
I
the
think you
sheets
might-
at someone's house that they're giving you for free for a week, and you wouldn't wash the sheets?
I guess I've never
I
had
think
this.
I think Ben's gonna get some heat for this.
I guess I've never had this
it's so
situation
wrong.
because I've never had this before.
Yeah.
But like thinking through it,
I mean, at my house, I have cleaners that come in anyway, and I would just tell you
don't
not
people
to.
have no?
But I think you might get some heat from people being like, no, you always at least like offer to change it or whatever. Even though I'm like, don't do
Sure,
it because my
sure.
cleaners will do it the right way.
Sure,
but-
I'll offer to do it.
Yeah.
Sure, okay. I don't want heat. I want no heat.
From
I've
my
never done this
perspective-
before.
From my perspective, you make amazing Chilean food, so that's like an even exchange.
Yeah, I come in, I cook.
You cook really freaking good food.
Yeah, I don't clean. Brian has cleaners. He
So
has
Josh,
cleaners.
are you calling out? Is Ben no longer ever invited to stay at your house?
No, he's always an open invite. I hope you like waking up at 5:30, babe, because my kids are loud.
Don't worry, I have a noise machine.
Should we get to what are you nuts?
Yes, we should. Brian, I briefed you on this. People, places, and things, gripes with humanity. You walk down, you're like, oh, that woman's a fucking moron. That's a what are you nuts. I can go first. Driving yesterday for Father's Day. We also didn't recap Father's Day, just saying happy Father's Day to
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Happy Father's Day to you. Both
Thank
wonderful
you.
fathers. And that's that on Father's Day. Driving on Father's Day. And I see a sticker. It's a sticker that you've seen before if you drive on the highway. Baby on board, right? That sticker that says there's a baby on board. And all I have to say is, what are you nuts? Because I'm not changing the way I drive based on whatever sticker you decide to put on your car. If you write active Marine, right? That's another sticker. If you write like I have a gun, like bearing arms or whatever, baby on board. I'm driving the exact same way no matter if you have an infant in your car or if you don't have an infant in your car. If you're driving slow, I'm tailgating you and then I'm going around you. Don't drive slow. Get in the right lane. I'm driving identically whether you have the sticker or not. So if you want to advertise to me that you have a baby in your car, good for you. Good for you for traveling with your baby. I'm not changing the way I'm driving. I think the sticker is nuts. I also think as a broader concept, stickering your car.
Yeah.
What are you, 6?
Yeah.
Would you pick up a notepad and decide to, or a laptop and put these stickers? These are mentally unwell people that are
I don't think
stickering
I've
their
ever put
cars.
a sticker on my. In fact, when I buy a car, I have them take off all the decals of the dealership and stuff. I hate that. I like a
Do you think,
virgin car.
do you think that there's anybody with an S-Class Mercedes and stickers on the back? It's always like a Civic.
Yeah. Or no,
Right.
yeah, like a Subaru, like
Yeah.
love, peace,
Yeah, like Taylor Strecker's car.
leave Taylor alone.
So that sign, Ben, is for if God forbid the car gets in a car accident, that people know there's a kid on board who are coming in to like help them so that they don't leave a child in the car seat.
God damn it. Are you sure?
Yes.
So it's not
That
just
was
it's not just a PSA like, hey, there's a kid on board.
Ben is
That
getting
was your
dragged this
original
episode. Ben's.
Can't you guys just agree with me? Like, I don't even, like, none of these people would know anything. Like, you're educating them. Like, you could have just said, yeah, Ben, I don't clean fucking sheets. Like, get off my ass. Josh,
Sorry, Ben.
What about you?
No. I agree. Okay, my what are you nuts is I was walking with my son the other day and this gaggle of teen boys with low voices walk by us and they see my son and my son's just being cute and sweet and he's like, hello. And he's like 5 years old. And one of the kids turns to him and he's very nice, but he goes, oh, hey, how are you? And I was like, first of all, why do you have that low-ass voice, 17-year-old? But then I thought, what are you, nuts? Don't greet my son like that. Give him a buddy. Give him a pal. Hey, bud, how are you? What's up, dude? Don't give him a, oh, hi, how are you? It just felt very odd. What are you, nuts?
That's nuts. I also love there are some people that change their tone of voice depending on what they're doing. Do you know these people? You'll have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
conversation with them, and then all of a sudden you'll see
I
them
have friends with a lot
pick
of
up their
phone voices.
phone
yeah.
voices. They're like, hello. I'm like, weren't we just talking and you had a completely different voice,
Yeah.
and now you're hello.
Well, I have to lower my voice on the phone so that when I'm ordering takeout, they don't say ma'am.
I've had that before. I've had ma'am.
I know, because we're low T beta cucks. You know who's not a low T beta cuck? Brian Kelly. Brian, what do you got?
Oh my God. Wait, we never even asked Brian. You want to talk about, Brian is a health guru. All of your questions about, Josh is obsessed with testosterone and these, continue, do your, what are you nuts? We probably ran out of time.
Well, I recently have a friend who is an open water swimmer, and he was telling me how 5 different times he's gotten pulled out by the tides. Like people who, and look, I love sharks and scuba diving, but getting into murky water, like people who swim in murky water, including I was walking on the Hudson River on Father's Day with my son, and they have steps into the Hudson, like to invite you in to swim. And I saw people in the brown Hudson, like, what are you, nuts?
Nuts.
Like, but some people have this predisposition, just get in. So many people are like, oh, I just need to get in any body of water and swim. but that's insane, right?
Insane. Swimming in the Hudson?
Even
Ultimate,
like
what are
in
you
the
nuts?
Hamptons and Long Island, like there's so many sharks there. I just don't like being in water where you don't know what the hell is in there.
Oh, yeah, that's how I feel about the Delaware River.
Yeah.
That you love. The ultimate body of murky water.
It's been really clean and clear lately.
What the hell is in that
That
thing?
river will eat you up and spit you out. As I think back to all my friends, I love it, but every one of my friends has had a major meltdown on that river.
It's terrifying.
But it's like life. It'll if you can beat the river, you can win at life.
If you can beat the river, you can win at life. Josh, we got anything else?
I think that's great. You know, it's a good what are you nuts when you could have ended it with open water swimming.
Yeah.
From the first line, it could have been like, you're good.
Josh, you're in LA. Like, will you just ever hop into the Pacific and go swimming?
Yes.
You will.
But
By
yeah,
yourself?
in the Pacific.
Like in the morning. People who do that
Pacific's-
at like sunrise. Like, that's when the sharks are out.
No, this is LA.
And I know sharks are not like attacking humans a
You
lot.
want to see the shark attack coming, Brian, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. You want to see them coming to
Well,
bite off one
at
of your
scuba
limbs.
diving, because sharks know this bubbling freak creature is not food. But humans swimming at the surface looks like a seal. Like sharks are very smart about, knowing what is food.
I used to surf, and I'm trying to do it more. And I always thought it was weird that wetsuits are black. Because I'm like, what could make us look more like a seal? Like, why
yeah.
aren't these neon green?
I guess sharks can't see color anyway. I don't think. I think they just like.
Me either.
Yeah.
That
Have you ever seen a shark fin? Have you ever seen a shark fin while you were surfing?
No, I saw a dolphin and thought it was a shark and got out of
And
the water
shat your
quickly.
wetsuit. Yeah.
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. But I also then got held down in a 3-wave set and thought it was all over for me, and I haven't surfed in 8 years.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything nastier than shitting yourself in
In a wetsuit. That'd be, I don't know. It could keep you warm.
Oh my God. And on that note, folks, that is our episode. That is our episode. As always, rate us 5 stars. If you don't give us 5 stars, what are you, nuts? Listen to us wherever you find your podcast. Spotify, Apple, there are other places. We don't know where it is. Watch us on Josh's YouTube. You got to watch us. You got to watch us interact. Maybe watch us on YouTube. Listen to us. Double the streams. Better for us. Share our clips. Good Guys Instagram. Good Guys TikTok. Follow Brian on Instagram, Brian Kelly. Follow The Points Guy. See all of his wonderful journeys Mondays and Thursdays. We will catch you next time.
And if you don't rate us 5 stars, you can go shit in a wetsuit.
Perfect.
Thanks, Brian. Love you, man.
Bye,
Thank you.
Josh.
Thank you guys.